So we're starting our muladhara chakra practice, our restorative root practice in balasana, in child's pose. So if you are just joining us, gather up your props. They can be household or quote unquote yoga props. Like that's still kind of a newer concept. So a couple blocks or hard books, pillows of different sizes, or blankets or towels of different sizes. And then if you have a yoga strap or a belt, anything like that will be fine. Our first restorative pose is child's pose or balasana. And this practice is a traditional restorative practice, which generally means we're trying to go for deep relaxation and stillness, but please respect your body. If you need to get up and do some movements and cat-cow stretch, please listen to your body. But for balasana, what I like to recommend is support under the knees. The knees comfortably wide, big toes together. You can even put another blanket between your butt and your heels. And then you can have a couple pillows out in front of you. You can even draw them between the thighs or yoga bolsters or blocks or books. And draw the hips back to the heels. Walk out to the forearms and then lightly place the forehead on the earth, on a pillow, on a block, on a bolster. And begin to breathe here. So slowing down the breath. If this does not work for you, you can lie on your back and hug the knees to the chest. That is a sort of a simple modification for child's pose. So beginning this root chakra journey in balasana, we are going to stay close to the earth. Draw your attention to the base of your spine. Take a deep belly breath in, fill your belly, fill your back body. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Can you settle closer to the earth? And feel free to exhale out the mouth anytime you feel stuck or stagnant. The root chakra is sort of considered to be focused at the base of the spine, but its energy extends all the way down the legs to the feet. It rules the function of elimination and survival. The root chakra is our connection to family, ancestry, the planet. The root chakra is the container of safety, security, stability. It is the energy of the adrenal glands, which offer us the opportunity to fight or flee for our safety and the safety of our homes. And the practice tonight, the restorative root practice, is around releasing from the roots anything that is no longer secure, stable, or safe. It is clearing out anything, any structure, any responsibility, any relationship, any role that no longer serves our truth. And so as we drop into the root awareness, the muladhara awareness through the surrender practice, we trust that the more we let go of what does not belong to us, the more we will remember that we do belong. The root chakra is the right to be here, the right to know you belong here. And so may this practice, this stillness, these shapes where we are surrendering to the earth, we are surrendering to gravity, we are surrendering to the bones. May they allow us to know who we are and where we belong, and that we all belong to this planet and to each other. And the more we can kind of shake from the roots, the dirt and the debris and the, all this stuff that builds up. When earth is imbalanced, it is heavy, it is depressed, it is stagnant, or it's muddy. It's muddy and it's mucky and it's unclear. Healthy earth is fertile and moist. It's strong and stable. Take a few more deep breaths into your child's pose. If you happen to have one facial cheek turned down, make sure to maybe try the other facial cheek. And as you surrender into child's pose, into balasana, we are surrendering to the root. You can continue to breathe, focusing at the base of your spine. The color is red. So you can just imagine breathing in and out this beautiful red light into the base of your spine. Or if there are any other grounding earth metaphors that connect for you, imagining yourself breathing into the roots of an ancient tree or powerful stones or a simple garden. Wherever on this earth you feel safest, most secure, most stable, imagine dropping into that during this practice. Take another big, big breath in. Open mouth, let go, sink in a little bit more. And so you are always welcome to stay in any of these shapes. That's another beautiful thing about the home practice is you can stay in any of these poses all night if you want to. So you can stay in child's pose, or we are going to, with as little effort as possible, roll into the only standing pose we ever do in restorative, which is our supported forward fold. So rolling the weight back to the feet, and I'm going to offer some options right away. Option one is to roll yourself back towards a wall. So your sit bones hug into the wall, and the feet are probably about 6 to 8 inches away, about outer hip, shoulder distance apart, and you can bow here, pressing the sits bones into the earth and just coming up and over the legs. The other option is if you have a chair or bed or couch nearby, you can face it. Again, feet comfortably wide, knee socks, stack your forearms and place your forehead there. So in the restorative tradition, we generally do want some kind of support to yield into. If neither a wall or a bed are available, the next best thing is to just stack up your props, pillows, blocks, bolsters, stack them up so that at minimum, you can rest your hands on that and let go. And at maximum, you could even let your forehead or your hairline rest here too. So if I stack my bolsters up, I'm able to stack my forearms and again, place my forehead down. So we're not looking for the intense opening of the hamstrings that we find in Uttanasana in our more active Hatha practice. We are looking again for that folding in. This is a beautiful shape to open up the entire back body. And then again, we give into that gravitational pull towards the earth. We get a little bit of a mild inversion effect. So we don't want to be feeling a ton of big stretch. We want to feel that surrender. So just a different way of bowing towards the earth. And of course, there can be movement, little rocking, little shifting around. Staying connected to the base of the spine. And here you may feel into the feet. Right? Our feet are often our channel to the earth. You could visualize roots, again, down the feet, down the tailbone, down into the earth. And I believe it's Rumi who says, you know, there are a million ways to kiss the ground. And I think I'm paraphrasing that incorrectly, but that's the general feeling, right? There's a million ways to kiss the earth, to kneel and kiss the earth, to bow into that root support. And again, at any point, you could come back into that child's pose. Deep breath. So the idea in these poses that we can settle into some kind of relaxation. But some days the mind is busy, which is why that's when it's lovely to focus on the red, on the earth imagery, or just feeling, you know, what it's like to be in your physical form tonight, what the earth in your body is like. If your body was a earth landscape, again, would it be a forest, a desert, a field, a garden? How does earth live in your body? How is earth supported in your body? A few more breaths. Deep breath in. Exhale everything out. So once again, the invitation to remain in Uttanasana or back to Balasana is available. Otherwise, we will slowly, essentially turn this pose on its side. We'll shift the body down to the mat. So the most effortless way to come to the bottom. And we'll take a supported forward fold here. So again, you could stay in the standing version, or we're just going to turn that on its side. So on the butt, the knees are bent, the feet are comfortable distance apart. And we're not, again, this is not a big flex of the feet. This is not a large engagement of the musculature. So the knees are soft. I recommend sitting up on a blanket or even sitting up against the wall. So again, letting the wall or the bed support you. And then if you have a pillow or bolster, take that. So maybe have the feet about as wide as your pillow or bolster, and you can stack them up. And again, we're coming up and over with the forehead down, the arms relaxing. So like I said, this is not about, okay, I'm going to open up the back of the body. This is about turning in towards the earth. So relax the shoulders down, soften the jaw. And you could even bring the feet closer together so you can stack your props up on your feet. Fold up some blankets and pillows, forehead down. But we're not sort of slumping into the back body. The shoulders aren't by the ears. We're not rounding through the back. We're lifting up and then bowing towards earth. So bringing that idea of reverence to the root chakra. Reverence for that which supports us, sustains us, that which has allowed us to survive. The earth chakra, the root chakra, begins to develop in utero. So for a lot of us, our relationship to this chakra is formed at a time where we are the most vulnerable, where we are babies in our biological mother's womb. And so much of our organic relationship to the root is formed in that time that most of us have no memory of. Unfortunately, we can sort of reparent our root chakra relationship through practices. But as you feel into that bowing to the earth, as you feel into the earth underneath you, the legs that you stand on, your support. Again, there's a lot of reasons it may feel shaky, it may feel cracked. This entire pandemic has been a root chakra crisis. Again, really pulling out our insecurities, our weaknesses, our prejudices and privileges, and really showing us, right, like the dirty roots of the country, of the world. And at the same time, we're also really feeling into what is the most necessary, what is the most vital, what do we protect, what do we support? But we know in the practice that unless we tend to our own roots, we cannot be helpful, we cannot serve. And so the restorative root practice is, again, that deep surrender to what supports and sustains you, and that release of what is not necessary, what does not belong. So you remember that you belong. Take a couple more breaths if that is appropriate. Listening to the body, feeling the energy building at the base of the spine. Deep breath in and sigh it out. Take your time. And again, you can stay here longer, but when you're ready, roll up. And you can mindfully kind of lift the props. And as we begin to transition to the back for a few shapes, this was what would kind of make this easier, but of course, honor your body, no stress, honor your prop setup. But if you could put like a pillow or blanket to the right and left side of the mat, kind of like the middle, the mid to bottom part of the mat. And then have a towel or blanket folded in half. So if you think about how we often have yoga blankets, kind of this squarish shape, this rectangle shape, if you felt folded in half, so it is a square, something like that. And then you may also, this would be where we would want the strap. And then if you have a yoga block, if you don't have a yoga block, don't use a book for this, but maybe if you have a smaller pillow or like another folded towel. So maybe pillows to either side of the mat, a folded in half square blanket and a block or another small pillow. And then if you have a strap or any kind of belt, we do want to create a loop. So again, I don't like to use the strap a lot because I think it makes us think a little too much for restorative, but I want to try it tonight for the root. So if you have kind of a standard yoga strap, it'll have like the buckle. And the same thing with any other kind of belt. And you just want to at least create the loop. Keep it light for now, but you want to create that loop. And then what we'll do, we'll actually go ahead and start in the constructive rest pose just because I'm making you do all of this work. So you will take the strap around the feet, so it's around the thighs, underneath the thighs. Take the block and put it between the legs. And then you'll pull the strap tight. So not super tight, but tight enough, and I'll show you what this is going to look like. We'll lie on the back. That folded in half blanket will go under the sacrum. So it's not going to be that high. It's not going to be as high as a bridge, but under the sacrum, so we can lower the sacrum and tailbone down. And then you're gently hugging the block with the thighs, and you pull the strap tight enough that when you relax here, nothing will change in the legs. And this is a very subtle pose. This is one of those poses that when I first started restorative yoga, I would get very irritated in because I couldn't tell what was supposed to be happening. And that's exactly what is supposed to be happening. It's constructive rest. It's for the sacrum, it's for the tailbone, it's for the low back. So you are on the back with the knees bent. Now, if all of that is too complicated and it's feeling like you're thinking too much, just lie on the back and let the knees knock together. So if you're able to have that little support, and I'll do it again in case you're looking at me. So this is constructive rest. And it is very, very nurturing for the earth element, which is all about digestion and elimination. So the block between the thighs, the strap nice and tight. So the knees are sort of hugging into the block. My feet are a little wider than my hips. And I have this nice support right under my tailbone. So I can really lengthen my tailbone and my sacrum into the blanket. My feet are pressing down, but again, my legs aren't going to go anywhere. I don't have to think about hugging them together or trying to drop them open. And then place your hands on your belly or on the earth. Then we're going to do some deep breathing here. So again, this is a very subtle pose, but after doing those forward folds, this is hopefully very decongesting for the back. And so lengthening the tailbone, pressing the feet down, feeling the gentle hugging in of the props. And I want you to just start to lengthen your breath. So slow down the breath. Inhale, fill the low back, feel into your tailbone. And then exhale, let everything get heavy and sink closer to the earth. And just watch the breath fill and pulse and pool around the base of the spine. And again, if the mind is, still kind of active, just imagine breathing in and out a rich red light at the base of the spine. Let the shoulders sink down, the skull sink down. And so the earth element is the bones, the roots. And so one thing I love about constructive rest, which is this pose, is that we can really feel the sinking of the bones because we're in this a little bit more of a compact position with the low body. So again, the hamstrings can relax. We can lengthen through the tailbone. But we can feel the shape of the femur bone, the shin bones, the sort of complex articulation of the ankle and the feet. So this, for me, is very much a resting into the bones, different from Shavasana because of the legs. Like I said, I feel like there's much more of a dropping into the tailbone and the sacrum here, but in a really sweet, supported way. And this can be a great Shavasana alternative if having the legs extended hurts your back or extends the back. Just be here a little bit longer. Slow breath. Base of spine, heavy bones, deep roots. And feel your feet, your tailbone, the tips of the shoulder blades, the back of the skull. Take a big, big breath into that back body support. Open mouth. Exhale. Exhale everything out. And then again, you're welcome to stay here, or you can draw the knees into the chest. And as you draw the knees in, you can carefully draw out your block. You can unloop the strap. Take a couple breaths like that. And then when you're ready, place the feet and we'll move the blanket out from under the sacrum and we'll put that between the legs. So put that between the legs. And then draw the shoulders down. You can bring your arms into goalposts. Move your hips a little bit to the left and then bring the knees up and over to the right. So if you were able to put a pillow or blanket to the right, that's what will catch the legs now for the twist. So a couple options here. Like I said, the most supported version is the feet, shins, and knees are stacked on a pillow. Maybe you have a blanket or pillow between the thighs. If that's not comfortable for you, you can always just let the right knee rest on the props and even slide the left foot back so it's more of a windshield wiper twist. And then you can either move that blanket between the legs or slide it so it just catches the left knee. But we definitely want support for this twist. We want to allow the shoulders to draw down, and we want that support under the legs. Because again, the poses we do in restorative are the softest versions of them. We don't want to feel a deep, wringing out in the twist. We want that soft, grounded release. So again, the knees up and over, the left shoulder relaxing down. Close your eyes, let the eyes settle into the sockets, into the skull. Close your eyes, stay with your breath. And our twisting is, again, it's where we sort of wring out those roots. Anything that came up through the first part of the sequence as we move through our kind of bowing in, our forward folds, and then letting it settle. And now we kind of wring it out. But very gently, if you have worked with roots, right? Like depending on the plant, the roots can be very delicate, or in other cases, they can be really powerful. And root systems are so fascinating. If you've done any research into the oak trees or the mushrooms, right? Like the root support systems are just breathtaking. How complex and advanced and also just basic. These root systems take care of everybody, right? We belong here. We have the right to be here. And so we rinse from our roots anything that doesn't belong to us or that allows us to feel that we don't belong. Outdated belief systems, structures, habits, relationships. And this is a very powerful week to tend to the roots. We had the new moon in the earth element. A lot of energy in the earth element. A lot of 2021 is the sort of the yoga between earth and air. How do we meet, between these two seeming opposites? And then restorative, it's through surrender, release, rest. Sink a little deeper into the earth. A few more deep breaths into your twist. Deep breath in and exhale it out. So again, with as little effort as possible, we'll switch sides. That might look like bringing the knees into the chest for a few breaths. If you need to adjust your props, please carefully attend to that. And in whatever way you want to bring the knees up and over to the left, taking a grounding supine twist. In the yin tradition, we refer to the supine twist series as the twisted root. This being a different version of that because we're not crossing the knees. The twisted root. So again, the supine twist being very much about wringing out the roots, twisting the roots, or perhaps untwisting the roots, untangling our roots. And again, the root chakra is family of origin as well as ancestry. The relationship to the land we're on. So most, pretty much all of us are on indigenous lands. It's a relationship, appropriate relationship to the lands we're on. And then also, the bigger picture, the planetary picture, we all belong to the earth. We are all earthlings, human beings here. The root chakra is, again, the connection to all and that we all belong. And if we can establish that, then we have this healthy attachment that we bring up through the chakra system. So ideally, right, we have a biological mother who has a safe, happy, healthy pregnancy, and we remain safe and happy and healthy in the pregnancy. And then the birth is safe and healthy, could be happy also. And then we are born into a community, into a family, in our ancestral pathways, the blueprint of our DNA, we're born into a village. And those first few months of life, in particular, a healthy attachment to a primary caregiver and remaining happy, healthy, safe. And then from there, we're able to start to explore the emotional and the independence. And you'll see that as we move through the chakras. But again, a lot of us, through no fault of our own, no fault of our family, right? That wasn't always the story. And so we are always continually repairing the roots. And so just having some softness and some love for what your root system has been through from utero and whatever you were, again, born into, family, ancestry, history, and how that has evolved. And because we can, like I said, we can reset. We can replace, we can reorganize this container. Deep breath in and sigh out. Take your time to release the twist. Again, knees to chest or placing the feet on the floor. Our next restorative pose is Viparita Karani. So that is often legs up the wall, legs up the closet, legs up the bed. It could also be legs up the chair. If you don't have a wall, chair, door, bed around you, you could also stack up cushions. Generally speaking, we just want to have the feet higher than the head. So if you had blocks and pillows, you could stack them up on the blocks and just create, your own structure, right? That's what a lot of the root chakra is. That could be anywhere from like a 90-degree angle to having the legs straight up. But even if you just have the feet and the shins stacked up, that's fine too. And you can have the head, pillow or blanket under the head. And for some people, if the hamstrings are really tight, or every now and again, if you're working with some eye issues, it doesn't feel that good to have that sharp angle, that sharp 90-degree angle at the wall anyway. It's helpful to have the knees bent and more at like a 45-degree angle. So listen to the body. A couple other options. Some of you have things like sandbags. Those can go on the feet and legs up the wall. That's going to weight the femurs. So the femurs being our biggest bone. You could also put something under the sacrum again. So whether it was just like that little blanket or a bolster or pillow, and that just gives us a more complete inversion. So then we have the feet, the hips, and the heart above the head. When we go upside down, it flushes the blood from the feet, from the legs. And it is one of the most efficient ways to move us out of the fight or flight response. Because again, the root chakra connects us to the adrenals and the survival response. Because again, when that response was developed, the body, right when it's in danger, it goes into that. So if we're putting our legs up, like we're probably not being chased by a saber-toothed tiger or whatever was the danger at the time our nervous system was developed. It hasn't changed much. We still respond like that to traffic or any other stressful situation. So this is a really good pose for the immune system and the nervous system and the lymphatic system. And our roots, right? Like it flushes everything out of the feet, out of the legs. It floods into the organ body. And then we come out of it, it flushes back down the leg. So it gives all those big muscles that extra nourishment, that really clean flow so that, we have a better foundation. So whatever version of Viparita Karani you are in, if at any point this gets to be too much, you could bring the soles of the feet together or the knees to chest. Just allowing yourself to sink and settle into the root, into the energy at the base of the spine. Maybe still working with the color red. And we will be here for a few minutes. So again, you can focus with the breath. You can focus the color red. You could also work with the mantra of Alam. So as you inhale and breathe into the base of the spine, you could hear the sound of Alam. As you exhale, you could hear the sound of Alam. And that is the bija, the seed sound for the Muladhara chakra. Lam. Color red, deep breath, sound of Lam. As we let the body receive our practice, as we flush out anything that does not support, sustain, that does not need to survive. A lot of our patterns were useful at a certain time in our lives. They helped us survive, but oftentimes they become outdated, not useful in our current relationships. And so we cleanse the root chakra. We allow the descent into the root to repair, to reorganize, to release, and to remember that you belong. You have the right to be here. The shadow teacher of the root is fear. And I think we're all feeling fear to different degrees right now. That comes and goes, personal and collective and planetary. And so fear is natural. Fear is an important part of our evolution because it does inspire us to take action. But when it keeps us from being able to rest and eliminate and root, then it supports dis-ease. And so letting yourself just release into the root any fears that are not factors in this moment, in this practice. Breathing in and out that red light. Feel into the bones and the breath. And I know a lot of you can be in legs up the wall for a good period of time. And in a traditional restorative class, it's not uncommon to hold a pose for 15, 20 minutes. So if the body is, sinking effortlessly here, you're welcome to stay here, or we are going to begin to transition into relaxation. So if you want to transition, you can bring the soles of the feet together and knees to chest. This would be a good time to do any rocking or rolling or any other movement that the body needs. And for Shavasana, I am going to recommend a traditional Shavasana, but I know some of you love Supta Baddha Konasana, and I did not name that for the root chakra tonight. So if you want to do your Shavasana in Supta Baddha Konasana, you are welcome to. Sideline Shavasana is also really nice for the root chakra because that is the best pose for any kind of anxiety or PTSD, to be in fetal pose, especially if you're in fetal pose with the back to the wall and then a pillow between the knees under the head and kind of hugging in on a pillow or blanket. But otherwise, Shavasana, you can lie on the back. Please put a pillow under your head and roll blankets or a bolster under your knees. It can also be nice to put a little roll under your ankles so the feet get a little bit of a release. And then cover the body, put a little weight on the body. So the weight, the compression is really good for the root energy. You can cover your eyes with the sleeve of a shirt or an eye pillow or a washcloth. I will do a little bit of drumming in the Shavasana restorative, the restorative Shavasana for the root, because for me, the sound of the drum is one of the ways I absolutely feel connected to the earth. It was said to be, the drum was said to be the earth's heartbeat. When people began to consciously drum, they were connecting to their heartbeat, the heartbeat of the earth. So please take the next couple of moments to get as grounded and comfortable as you can. Really feel your bones settling into the earth. Your skeleton just sinking into deep relaxation, allowing the breath and the body to reset and reorganize the roots and the bones as much as it's needed right now. And again, you can feel everything drawing into the base of the spine. How supported can you be? How comfortable can you be? And feeling into that red energy at the base of the spine, maybe that lam. Really give yourself to the earth. It's so important to have conscious rest. For a lot of us, even going to sleep is not restful. So that conscious rest, lying on the earth. Feel your sits bones sink into the earth. Feel your pelvic bowl quiet and settle. Feel the big bones of the thighs rest. They lightly plug into the hips, into the knees. Feel the joints of the hips and knees relax. The two bones of the shin relax. And the shin bones that plug into the knees, into the ankle joint, softening the joints. Feeling your feet drop open, the complex structure of the ankles and the feet. The joints of the toes. Feel the bones of your feet and the bones of your legs drop into the earth. Feel the joints relax. Pelvis and sit bones relax. Feeling again into the base of the spine and the tailbone. And the gentle articulation of the spine as it rests deeper into the earth, and as your breath articulates up the spine, the low back of the spine, middle of the spine, and it reaches to the right, wrapping through the ribs, and then around to the left, feeling the bones of the ribs as they curl lovingly around our heart and lungs. Following the spine upward, the right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, up the spine, and then down into the right shoulder, shoulder joint, the bones of the upper arm, elbow joint, lower arm, and the little bones and joints of the wrist and the hand, whole right hand and arm, shoulder, over to the left shoulder and shoulder joint, down the left upper arm and the elbow, the left forearm bone, plugging into the wrist, and all the little bones and joints of the left hand, the bones of the left hand, the left arm back up into the shoulder, feeling the little bones of the neck, and softening into the skull, feeling the back of the skull, the front of the skull, the eye sockets, your face softening around the skull, everything softening towards the skull. Feeling into the bones of the right ear, the little tiny bones, the smallest bones in the body, in the ears, the right ear and left ear. And the bones of the face and the ears soften down the throat to the right collarbone and left collarbone, the breastbone, that again brings us into the rib case. Feel the whole body, all the bones sink into the earth, reorganized, reset. You feel into the base of the spine and the deep roots between us and the earth. We let go through our roots, through our bones, anything that does not belong to us, or that tells us that we do not belong. We rest into the earth and into the roots. We let go. you rest into the base of the spine. Rich red light, base of the spine. From that rich red light at the base of the spine, 4 perfect red petals begin to emerge, placed equally on either side of a yellow square. 4 rich red petals on each side of a yellow square. And a red triangle radiates. Red upside down triangle radiates from the center of the yellow square. A red upside down triangle radiating from the center of a yellow square with 4 red petals on each side. As you rest into this 4-petaled lotus of the Muladhara Chakra, the sound alarm begins to vibrate from the upside down red triangle in the middle of the yellow square, embraced on all sides by red petals. The sound alarm begins to vibrate the base of your spine. Take a deep breath into the base of the spine. You breathe that energy all the way up through the body. And open mouth, exhale, and you release. And that root chakra energy is restored. You begin to breathe deeper into the body, and of course, you're welcome to remain resting. But if you would like to finish the practice together, begin to deepen the breath. Begin to wiggle through the bones of your fingers and toes and wrists and feet. You can roll to one side or take a big stretch. Take your time, hug yourself in. If you'd like, we will sit our bones on up, rooting into earth. As you move through this weekend, and maybe tending to your roots through being barefoot on the earth, nourishing foods, the color red. Again, any awareness that you can comfortably bring to your physical world, your family, your ancestry, your structures. Take a deep breath in. Exhale it out. And then if you'd like, on your hands, make peace fingers and then point the fingers, the peace fingers down. This is Bhu Mudra, which is one of our earth mudras. So you can reach the peace fingers into the mat, lengthen the spine. And then we'll tone the sound Lam, the bija for the root chakra one time if you'd like to join. Otherwise, you can just listen. Take a deep breath in. can bring the hands to the heart or the body or to the earth. When I bow to each of you, thank you for restoring with me this evening. I hope to see you soon. Many blessings and namaste.